everybody. I wanted to do a quick recording on some tips and tricks on playing Cashflow, and I wanted to go over a few things I did not cover in the previous edition. Okay, when you are looking at the types of games that you can jump into, you'll see various ones. You may see ones that say fast or pro fast, that kind of thing. If you get in those kinds of rooms, you got to realize that they expect you to already know what's going on and not take your time reading each of those cards. I would suggest in the beginning is learn what each of those do, and actually you can go to uh, the website or get a screen capture and see what each square actually is, so you can get an idea when you land on it what to expect. So when a card pops up, you can go a little bit faster and not have to read through. Once you understand what's happening, then you can start joining those fast games or create your own. So we're going to go ahead and create a game from scratch and go through a few things. Okay, so like I said, you know, when you after you choose your dream and you keep this sheet open like this, every time it's your turn, it'll make a sound as far as it's your turn. So when you're playing with others, okay. So, but do realize if you get downsized, which is this purple square with a human outline with an arrow pointing down, that means downsizing. You're going to get skipped twice, and when it's your turn, even if you have this open, it doesn't make a sound. So keep that in mind. If you get downsized, try to pay attention to the screen because you're not going to get notified. All right. So another thing is when you're landing on deals, let me get on deals so we can get to that point. You got to remember, you know, if you're a person like this particular profile is a lawyer, all right, you're going to want to go into the big deals. And what that helps out is if you're working you're playing against like 3 or 4 others, or 2 others, or 1 other, and they have a, say, like the janitor. They only need a couple small deals, and they're out of the rat race. Whereas this lawyer, they need to get up 5,000 worth of cash flow. So if you're like 200 each, so 200 into 5,000, that's a lot of properties you need to go through. So you primarily want to stay in the big, and what's nice is you have this payday also. So another thing is you can also block the other person, because if they're in the small and they have some type of stock that they've bought at $1 and you pull the card that puts it up to 50, they get to sell it for 50. So think about that. So if you're staying in the big and they need more of the small cards pulled, that's a way to kind of block, backdoor them. And another thing is, you see this borrow. So you can borrow as much money as you want. So you can go in here and you can say, I want to borrow $1 million. So as you see, I have $100 million. But you see, my payday is almost negative $10,000. So anytime I pass payday, I'm going to have to pay this amount, and it's going to come out of this. Eventually, you're not going to have enough to cover that. This is going to run out, and then you become bankrupt. And when you become bankrupt and you pay everything back and you get to a positive cash flow, you use 3 turns. Now, if you sell everything off, like your condos, your houses, and everything else, you may not have a positive. And if you don't have a positive cash flow, you're over. You're not allowed any more turns. You just might as well just leave the game. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, the condo versus house thing, I tend to stay away from the condos on this because the return isn't that good. But if you have like a lawyer or the doctor or something like an airline pilot, you need to get every deal that you can so you have more cash flow coming in, because that's very important. But the return is not going to be as good. So as you see, this condo, it's only $160. A house is probably going to give you $200, $250 cash flow for each one. And the condos are a little more expensive than the houses to get into. But there are condo buyers who do, they do pop up, semi often, almost as often as the house buyers. And not all the house buyers give you a good price. Same thing with the condo buyers. So it's not that it's a bad thing, but you're going to get a better return of money doing the house. But there are some instances where you may have to pick up that condo because you just got to have so many properties, to get out of the rat race. And then when you're selling assets, so let's see if we can get to selling an asset because that becomes very important. And what I'm going to do is just pay this off real quick, so we're not, taking too much time. But when it's coming to selling an asset, you got to pay attention to what's actually happening. Okay, so we're going to end that. Let's see if we can get. All right, so here's a house buyer. I don't have a house over here. If this was a condo buyer, it would say select an asset, and then you click on the asset, and then you see if it's worth doing. So I didn't have a house to kind of give you an example there, but we'll see if we can get to that point to where we can have a house and kind of show you that idea. So you got all these doodads that are sitting around. So as you see here, so I pulled this card. Everyone that has Mighty for You will be able to get this offer. So if they paid $1, they've now got 5 times whatever they put into that particular one. So since I pulled this card, they all get access to it. So if you're in the big deals, you're not gonna. I wouldn't have pulled this. So keep that in mind. I'll see if we can continue on, and I'll come back to selling assets and see if I have an example and go there. Now, like I said, you can take loans as much as you want, and it's going to show up right here. So let's borrow 1,000 and show you what that looks like. So right here, here's my loan, 1,000, and the payment is going to be 100. So here's my loan payment, $100. So most people are like, well, I want this $100 in my payday. I want more in a payday, because you think on a month-to-month basis. And that's kind of not a good way to be thinking about things. If you pay off this 1,000 loan, which I have, that now means I only have $7,850 to do in a deal. Okay, and some of these deals may need that extra $1,000. So I would say stay away from paying off these loans. Yeah, that's $100 you're giving up, but that's also $900 you're giving up for a deal that you could be using. And you don't necessarily need to pay it off right away. So that's in these. So that's a 10%. You're only losing 10%. But if you look at the retail payment, that's 1,000, and this one's only 50. So 50 versus 100. So these are going to be better percentages. So, and they do the loan thing because it's so easy to do off the top of your head. It's just you move a decimal point. So. But I wouldn't pay off any of these expenses unless it's going to get you out of the rat race that much faster, because this 5,130 reduces, or whatever yours is for that particular case. So make sure you're learning this game and learning what each of these blocks do, so you can start getting into those fast, movers, and you can learn even more. And the best way to learn is just go in here, play on your own, kind of fiddle with the numbers, see what each one does. So like right now, no one's waiting on me to roll. So think about that when you're actually doing things. So another thing is winning. Eventually you're going to get out of this rat race, which is this middle ring, and then you're going to get out here into your dreams. Okay. And I know most people pick their dreams based on what they actually want to do in real life. That's cool. But think about if your dream is over here, you're literally going to have to go all the way around the board. Whereas if someone else comes out and then if they pick like say like this dream right here, this heat and AC, they only need to roll once and they're done. You know what I mean? So I like to get the one past cash flow day, and the one that I tend to land on a lot is this park named after you, which is pretty cool. You know, because you're after a payday, you're after the donation in case you want to do the 3 dice thing. But I do tend to land on the audit where you lose half your cash. So factor that in as you're buying things. So decide on your, are you looking to win the game, or are you looking to be like, you know what, I want to be, swim with the dolphins, or whatever that looks like. So something to think about, and you want to come out of the rat race as quick as possible, and with as little cash as you can, because even if you come out of the rat race and you have $2 million saved up while you're in the rat race, you go back to whatever you are. You don't carry that $2 million over, so think about that as you're going. So as you go along, eventually you're going to have these asset buyers that are going to come by and want to buy your assets. Okay, so when that eventually happens, being able to do the math in your head, like this house buyer, he's offering $90,000 and a 3-2. So if your house is like 55, and then you have financing of 40,000 left, that's not what the numbers are. I'm just kind of using the condo. So that means that there's 15 available. So more than likely you'll make 15 out of that deal. So yeah, you don't have that cash flow anymore, but you can use that 15,000 to get into the deal that gives you a 1,600 type of cash flow. So just be aware of those numbers and know how those things are operating. Most of the items operate as far as like a 10% basis, so that way it's easier for you to do it in your head. So keep that in mind also. I always do the charity because I like to be able to pass paydays more, and that gives me more cash to work with. This is what I look for: stock at $1, and then I at least buy 5,000. And since I have 8,400 in cash, I'm going to spend it all on that, and then wait for it to be around 30. So now I need the next card to pop up. So if it's just me, I'm the only one, having it pop up. So if I'm playing with a second person, that increases the chances of that card popping up. And then if it pops up, then I sell, and then I eventually will, use that money in a good deal. So that's how I try to work my way to wherever I'm trying to get to. So those are just some, basic strategies that I wanted to put across. Ooh, I doubled my share. So, and don't be afraid if it's got like negative cash flow when these assets, because eventually you're going to have a house buyer or a condo buyer. Like this condo is negative 100. Maybe that'll net me when I sell it, $16,000 or maybe 5,000. 5,000 I can start doing big deals. So something to consider. And as far as like figuring out if any type of deal is good or not, you basically need to see what the loan payment is and just go from there. So if you're able to do that math in your head, especially, a Plex buyer, I don't have any Plex. So unfortunately, I'm staying in the small stuff so I can show you an example here. Unfortunately, we're not getting that buyer. Well, I'm glad I'm not playing another person because... So, alright, so your down payment is $5,000. I don't have that. My cash flow is $220. So this is going to go up to $690. But I'm going to have to take a loan for $5,000. That's a $500 payment. So $690 will go down to $190. my payday. So watch how this works. All right. So the loan goes. Now I'm at negative 30, but I'm going to go up to 220. So see how I'm at 190 now. So I'm still positive. I wouldn't go under 500. You know, I'm just doing this as an example because what if I? So there we go. Mighty for you. So I bought it at 30. You know, I'm going to sell those. Those are like 2. I accidentally. So there we go. Okay, for you. I bought it at $1. I bought 8,400. It doubled. Now I'm gonna sell. Now look at that, 672,000. That so now I don't have to do these small deals anymore. Now I can start doing the big deals. Now I go over here, click on the big deal. See how my cash flow is different? Yeah, it's a little bit more down payment. But now I can start doing all of these big deals. You know, by the way, those loans that I had, let's go pay that off. So that way, watch this bar at the top here. This 84.90 is going to reduce. You know, see how that reduced to 57.90 because I don't have that $2,700 payment anymore. Now, all of this stuff is probably not wise to do, but look, I've got $500,000 in cash. So yeah, I'm going to pay off that mortgage. I'm going to pay off that car. I'm going to pay off that credit card. And now I'm out of the rat race. See how that works? But if I didn't have that additional cash, look, I still have $400,000 in cash. I can still do a lot of big deals. So those are some things to think about. Hopefully that's helpful. I'd like to hear your feedback. Go look at my other video, how to play Cashflow online. And thank you for watching.